What's up, everyone? My name is Christine, and welcome to my channel. I am a home birth student midwife, vlogging my experience through school and having an apprenticeship, working with a experienced midwife, attending births, and juggling this all while living my life. So, a big reason I am starting this vlog series and channel is because when I became really serious about applying for midwifery programs, I was finding a lot of really conflicting information and felt it was very overwhelming and confusing, which is why I didn't pursue midwifery for a long time because I wasn't sure how to do this pathway with without getting a nursing degree, which is something I did not want to do. So I turned to social media to kind of see if other people were doing it and how they were doing it. And when I would put in student midwife, most of the channels or the people that would come up were actually becoming nurse midwives. So their experience was very different, how they got into school, what were the recommendations, things like that. And when I did find some home birth midwives, student midwives, they were very dated videos, like 4+ years old, and they were kind of ended abruptly. So I was like, oh no, did they not finish their program? Did they get too busy? Did they get burnt out? It just, it just was like, oh man. So I want to share my experience because I feel like I couldn't find it out there and would have just loved to know how people juggle this. So, this channel, this video series is dedicated to those aspiring home birth midwives who are who are either called to this work or curious about this work, but also just insanely overwhelmed with all the information and just don't quite know where to start. And also just don't know how the path will look. I can be your guinea pig. You can, watch me struggle, have success um, through this entire journey. So I've been a birth and postpartum doula for a little over 10 years now, and finally have decided to move forward in my midwifery career. Midwifery is something I've been connected to since I was very young. It started as like a spiritual connection when I was about between the ages of 7 to 15. I would have dreams or premonitions of family members letting us know that they were pregnant, or I would see them in the labor and delivery room having their baby. And it was interesting because I'd wake up the next morning or the next day or 2 days later, and we would get a call from a family member announcing their pregnancy. I've always been curious about and interested in childbirth and babies, but just didn't really know what to call that or what kind of profession to get into. It first started off as being an OBGYN, a nurse in labor and delivery, and then the word midwife came up. And that was something that I wasn't super familiar with until I became a doula. Working with midwives and seeing them in at a hospital settings really blew my mind. And I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. Um, because I'm particularly not fond of the hospital or the obstetrics point of view on how to handle normal pregnancies. So this was really inspiring and something that I definitely felt was my calling. So I'm actually finishing up my first year at the Midwives College of Utah, aka MCU. Um, so far, this program has been it's been all right. I feel like a lot of these midwifery programs are not perfect, but they get you where you need to be. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. Um, MCU, the real reason I chose MCU was because they offer a financial aid option. You can use FAFSA to help pay for the program. Unlike other programs that are out there where you kind of have to have the money up front. Um, I just I have not gotten a bachelor's yet, so I still have some Pell Grant money that I'm able to put towards this program. Um, and also MCU has a cap on how much the program costs, so you can stay in that program for up to 7 years, which I'm definitely not going to stay in the program for 7 years, but you can if if you got a family, you life happens, whatever. But I believe they cap it at like 40,000. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere around there. I mean, there's schools like Bastyr that cost like $100,000, and that's insane. If you don't have that kind of cash. Um, and also, I like MCU because they use a learning platform that works well with me. In the sense that they have a lot of deadlines. So you use Canvas. If you're not familiar with that, a lot of like UCs use that, and community colleges use Canvas. Um, but they use that platform to as your learning platform, and they have deadlines, they have exams, they have live classes that you can attend. And for me, that works. I can be really lazy at times. And if I attended a school like NMI, the National Midwifery Institute, which is very popular with a lot of other student midwives in my area, who just give you a bunch of modules to kind of finish on at your own pace. I would not do them, and it would probably take me 7 years to complete a midwifery degree with them. So that's why I like MCU. It keeps a fire under my butt to kind of get me through these assignments. However, I will say there are a lot of busy work assignments, repetitive sometimes. But I think it has to do with their structure of the financial aid, like being able to be funded or get financial aid. So that sucks, but it's something to be mindful of. I think when you're looking into a program, applying for one, it's best to ask yourself, what is the best learning platform for you? Um, do you need someone to constantly remind you that you need to get this work done, or are you someone who can just handle it in 3 days or whatever? Sometimes I wish I was like that, but I'm not. I need somebody constantly stressing me out, giving me anxiety about, hey, you need to finish this assignment. Um, so, yeah, something to think about. So now I have officially finished my first year, phase one. I just took the assessment a couple days ago, and we'll find out next week if I passed. I'm pretty sure I did. I studied really hard for this one, and I got really good feedback from the assessors. So I don't think I failed it. I feel like if you fail, it's like you really just did not know the material or you did not study. So when you finish phase one, you have to have a CPR and NRP certification, as well as a doula training certificate. I already had my doula training certificate because I became a doula 10 years ago. However, I had to get the NRP and CPR training done because my CPR was expired, and I've never done NRP before. Um, NRP is definitely on the test. It's something you need to know, especially as you move into phase two, where you become an assist midwife role. Um, and once you enter phase two, you are expected to have a preceptor lined up and ready to work with. This is a midwife that is in your community, that um, you have to get approved through your program. The little bit of paperwork around it kind of sucks. Because what I hear is MCU has a little bit more paperwork to get a midwife approved versus like other programs where it's like once you're approved for life. So that's kind of hard to get around. However, I was very fortunate enough to find a preceptor who um, was already approved through MCU and was also open to taking me on as their student. Um, for the record, I live in California, the Bay Area specifically. And while there are a lot of home birth midwives here in the area, a lot of them do not take students, and it's very competitive, kind of. Um, so I was really freaking out about that, but I fortunately found someone who operates a birth center and also does home births. So they have a very busy birth center. So I should be able to get all my numbers that are expected, um, my clinical hours. I have already did a couple births and did a couple clinic days, and I learned so much, especially how to take vitals like blood pressure, and pulse, and learning a little bit about charting and just all of, setting up a birth table and things like that. It's exciting, um, which I will be sharing a lot more in the coming videos. But that's pretty much phase 2 and what I'll be entering this fall. I'm a little nervous because I have just started this preceptorship or apprenticeship. And I'm also going to be enrolled in 5 classes for the phase 2 year, and I also have to work and like juggle life. So I'm really curious what this is all gonna look like. Um, so far, things have been good. I'm learning the scheduling and being on call. Um, I was really stressed about it, but I think it's going to be okay. I have to commute about an hour, hour and a half to get to the clinic site. So I was really, really worried about that, but now kind of going to a couple births already, I kind of understand the groove and the schedule and everything and feel a lot better about it. So we'll see. So, if you're interested in becoming a home birth midwife or just love birth work in general, and just want to follow the journey, then hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Let me know where you're at in your midwifery journey or birth work journey. And yeah, I feel like midwifery and like birth work in general can be really isolating at times. So, I hope to build community and through my experience and with all of you. So let me know what you think.